Lan Xichen took it all in, seemingly feeling a bit sentimental for a moment. After a while, he composed himself and got straight to the point. Xian, I know that there is affection between you and Wangji, which could last a lifetime. You are reluctant in your heart, otherwise that scene wouldn't have happened just now. At this point, even as an outsider, I can see that there is a barrier in your heart, and this barrier stands between you and Wangji. It is not just about the differences between the two families. It seems like you have some resentment and anger towards Wangji. Please forgive me for being so blunt, but I want to know, in what way has Wangji treated you not good enough? Wei Wuxian was unusually calm, his voice almost devoid of any fluctuation. Lan Zhan treats me very well. Lan Xichen was somewhat surprised, then puzzled. Then, why? Wei Wuxian silently lowered his gaze. But what I want is not this. Lan Xichen asked, What you want is... Wei Wuxian fell silent again. After a moment he said, I want his true heart. No matter if he likes me or dislikes me. I hope it's from his own true feelings and not influenced by others. It shouldn't be because the elders told him to do so, nor because family rules dictated it. Lan Xichen shook his head. Why do you think Wangji's feelings towards you are not genuine? Wei Wuxian smiled and said, Even marrying me was not from his true heart. Lan Xichen frowned deeply, unable to hold back from interrupting. Why do you feel this way? Wei Wuxian said, He married me simply to comply with the wishes of the elders. Because of that prophecy, Lan Xichen shook his head in disbelief, becoming slightly annoyed. Xian, why do you think this way? Do you know what truly happened during the family council meeting? Do you know Wangji's persistence? It's completely the opposite of what you said. To marry you, he defied Uncle. He's never even talked back to an elder before, let alone publicly defied one. This was like a slap in Uncle's face. Uncle was so angry that he almost spat blood. Do you know all this? Wei Wuxian was stunned, his previously despondent expression wiped away. He lunged forward, grabbing Lan Xichen with all 10 fingers, almost pulling his sleeve off. Lan Zhan, he really did that? Lan Xichen, not minding being pulled into a crumpled mess, asked in return, Haven't you asked Wangji about all this yourself? Didn't he tell you? Wei Wuxian, dazed, said, He said he married me because I am his destined one. I thought it was because of that prophecy, those superstitions, that he... Lan Xichen sighed, with a helpless expression as if to say, I knew it, answered, Wangji, that child. I imagine even if you asked him about this, he would just foolishly repeat those few words. In front of you, his mouth becomes even less articulate. So, let me tell you. On the day of the family council meeting, even though Elder Lan insisted that you should be chosen as Wangji's partner based on the divinations, many elders in the family opposed it. Especially Uncle. Uncle has some prejudices against you. Additionally, divinations have always been vague suggestions. They might indicate fortune or misfortune, compatibility or incompatibility. The family elders usually consider the personal qualities and backgrounds while discussing which young lady would be more suitable, taking into account the wishes of the individuals involved to select a match that everyone is satisfied with. Elder Lan's divinations seldom have such clear-cut, definitive outcomes, and never like the one about you and Wangji, so significant. It was the first time the elders had such an intense disagreement, and no one could convince the others. In the end, it was Wangji's firm decision to choose you that finalized the marriage. Even afterward, many elders were still dissatisfied with it, so the pressure Wangji faced at that time is imaginable. Why would you think that he married you out of someone else's will? Wei Wuxian seemed to still be in shock. In his mind, he suddenly pictured two squirrels trying to catch each other's tails, feeling vaguely that the misunderstanding between him and Lan Zhan was like the two of them going around in circles, twisting and turning. But Lan Zhan said that, he said because I am his destined person. Destined? Isn't that referring to a prophecy? Lan Xichen shook his head vigorously, feeling like he wanted to laugh and cry at the same time. He could hardly imagine the frustratingly poor communication efficiency between these two. Wasn't it fate that brought together such a pair, with one loving to think but not speak, and the other loving to speak but not think? Their life was as tumultuous and dangerous as meeting a parade of wild beasts in turns. The destined person Wangji refers to is not the one from a prophecy, nor someone spoken of by others. It is the person he holds in his heart, and that person is you. Wei Wuxian repeated dumbfoundedly, the destined person in his heart. At this point, Lan Xichen decided to go all out, acting like a diligent messenger. Tossing aside concerns about what should or shouldn't be said, he leaned in and spoke to Wei Wuxian in a conspiratorial whisper. Do you know how Wangji explained it to the elders? Caught up in the conspiratorial tone, Wei Wuxian nervously asked, how did he explain it? Lan Xichen replied, he said it was because you took off his forehead ribbon. Wei Wuxian. Ah? Lan Xichen couldn't help but let a smile spread across his lips as he continued. He also said that the two of you have already, shared physical intimacy. Wei Wuxian. Ah? Lan Xichen couldn't hold back his laughter for a moment. Remembering his status, he swallowed back a joke that had almost slipped out and composed himself to speak seriously. However, Wei Wuxian hastily interrupted him, flustered. There's really nothing between us. Zhe Wu Jun, you have to believe me. Lan Zhan, what does he mean? At that time, I was completely well-behaved and didn't even touch a single finger of his. Well, fingers might have been touched, but we only make love recently. At first, Lan Zhan was not willing at all. If it weren't for those erotic pictures he saw, and me touching and kissing him, lying through my teeth, it took a lot of effort to coax him into doing it with me. Really, Zhe Wu Jun, I'm not lying. Lan Xichen thought to himself that he wasn't even being that much more playful than usual. But the repercussions came so swiftly when he forgot that he was dealing with someone as unruly as Wei Wuxian. He coughed so hard that he nearly choked. Xian, you don't need to explain in such detail. I believe you. Wei Wuxian was about to say something more, but seeing Lan Xichen looking around as if to say, the weather seems pretty nice today, he quickly shut his mouth and straightened his half-leaning body back upright. The air was thick with awkwardness for a moment until he suddenly burst out with an indignant complaint. Lan Zhan, that big liar, when was I ever have physical intimacy with him before our marriage? Lan Xichen finally caught his breath and smiled. When Wangji said this at that time, I didn't believe it either. I know his character too well. He would never do anything that oversteps propriety. So I asked him about it. Wangji, he's simple-minded. What he meant by physical intimacy was more likely just some body contact. Wei Wuxian's eyes widened. Body contact? Thinking about his own unruly hands and feet, there were many possibilities. It seems that ever since he first met Lan Wangji, that little old-fashioned, he had felt an inexplicable and intense itch in his heart. Not only did he tease him with words, but his hands were often mischievous as well, especially when they played games that involved a lot of physical contact. Could it be that Lan Zhan determined his feelings based on this? Wei Wuxian wanted to laugh but couldn't. This was not quite as he had imagined it. Could it be that Lan Zhan was not captivated by his unparalleled handsome appearance, extraordinary demeanor, extremely intelligent mind, wicked charm, or unfathomable power, but rather by his mischievous antics? This seemingly upright and proper individual, who appeared to have come straight out of Buddhist scriptures, was just like those sheltered maidens who never stepped outside their homes, only recognizing the first person who was impertinent towards them. The dignified second young master, Lan, so pure and aloof, untouched by worldly dust, was actually this easily deceived.